Once upon a time, in a peaceful little village, there lived an old woman alone in a small house under a giant banyan tree. She was very old, with white hair and a deeply wrinkled face, but her eyes always sparkled with warmth and kindness. Though she lived alone, without children or grandchildren by her side, she smiled gently every single day. Everyone in the village loved her, not because she was wealthy or powerful, but because she radiated peace. While the villagers toiled hard, some plowing the fields, others crafting furniture, and many selling produce at the market, she sat beneath the tree, smiling and greeting everyone who passed by. She never complained about her loneliness or old age. Instead, her words were always calm and comforting, making everyone around her feel at ease, like a warm blanket on a cold night. No matter the harsh weather, illness, or hardship, her smile never faded. Life in the village wasn't easy. The people worked tirelessly to survive, farming, woodworking, trading. But things didn't always go as planned. Some years brought droughts, crops withered, and sometimes sickness spread, making it impossible to work. Many villagers lived in worry and sorrow, burdened by the weight of daily struggles. But even amid hardship, the old woman never lost her gentle smile. She became a source of comfort and hope for the entire village, a warm light in their darkest days. One day, a young woman named Agnes came to see her. Her face was soaked with tears, and her voice trembled with anxiety. She said, "Grandma, I don't know what to do anymore. My husband went to the city to find work, but it's been so long, and we haven't heard anything. I'm so afraid. What if something terrible happened? The children are hungry, and I feel so helpless." The old woman looked at Agnes with tender eyes, smiled softly, and gently patted the ground beside her. "Sit down, my dear. Tell me, what do you think is going to happen?" Agnes wiped her tears and choked back her words. "I don't really know. Everything just feels wrong. What if my husband can't find work? What if he forgets about us? What if we have nothing left to eat tomorrow?" The old woman listened patiently and slowly shook her head. "Agnes, when you fill your mind with dark thoughts, your heart becomes heavy. But if you begin to think of the good, your heart feels lighter. And with that, you'll find the strength to carry on." She smiled again and began to tell Agnes a story. Once, there was a poor man who had nothing. No money, no family, no food. He sat by a river, quietly crying. An old lady passing by saw him and asked, "Why are you crying, my son?" The man replied, "I have nothing. How can I ever be happy?" The old lady smiled gently and said, "You have this river that flows without end, trees that give you shade and fruit, and the sun that warms you each day. If you only see what you lack, you will always feel sad. But if you look at what you have, you will find peace." The man listened to her words, stopped crying, and began to look around. He noticed the shimmering river, the shade of the trees, and the warm sunlight shining through the leaves. For the first time in days, he felt a sense of calm. From that moment on, he changed the way he thought. Instead of complaining, he started working hard. Little by little, his life began to improve. The old woman turned to Agnes and said, "You see, my dear, that man's life didn't change because of magic. It changed because he changed his thoughts. Positive thinking gave him strength and hope." Agnes listened closely and then asked quietly, "Do you really think just changing the way I think can help me, Grandma?" The old woman nodded with kindness in her eyes. "Yes, my dear. Every morning, if you wake up and tell yourself, 'Today will be a good day,' you'll find strength to care for your children and face whatever comes your way. But if you keep fearing the worst, you'll only feel drained and helpless." Hearing this, Agnes wiped her tears and nodded slowly. "I understand, Grandma. I will try to think positively from now on." From that day, Agnes began to change her mindset. Every morning, she told herself, "Today will be a good day." Though life was still hard, her heart felt lighter. She had more energy to care for her children and worked hard each day, holding on to hope. A few weeks later, that hope turned into reality. Agnes received a letter from her husband. He had found a job in the city and was sending money back home. Overwhelmed with joy, tears streamed down her face, this time tears of happiness. She ran to the old woman's house to share the news. As always, the old lady was sitting beneath the banyan tree, smiling. After hearing Agnes's story, she simply smiled and said, "You see, my dear, when we hold on to hope and think positively, good things will begin to appear." From Agnes's story, the old woman's wisdom began to spread throughout the village. More and more people came to her, bringing their worries and troubles. No matter how big or small the problem, she listened patiently and always gave the same gentle advice. Think good thoughts, and good things will follow. At first, people doubted that such simple words could make a difference, but when they tried changing their mindset, starting each day with gratitude, focusing on what they had instead of what they lacked, their lives began to feel lighter. They felt more peaceful and began to find solutions rather than feel overwhelmed. The old woman brought more than just comfort. She helped everyone realize that strength doesn't come from outside. It comes from within. People loved and respected her deeply for her wisdom and kindness. Her final message was this: positive thinking won't erase your struggles, but it will make you strong enough to overcome them. A hopeful heart can shine light even in the darkest of days. Sometimes a single moment is all it takes, and that moment could be now. Let this be your daily English practice. If you enjoyed the story, give it a like and hit subscribe for more.